should you force images for the different memory systems you are creating? Because what happens is you have to create a lot of images for some systems, but you might end up getting stuck and you can't find an image to complete your system. So let's take a two-digit number system, for example. So for a two-digit number system, you have 100 images from 00 to 99 that you have to create. Now, usually with a number system, you have a code of some sort, and the code dictates what possible images could fit for that specific number. So what might happen is, let's say you have a couple of blanks in your system. Now, I know from experience, you could go absolutely crazy trying to find an image that you like to fit that code for that number. You could spend an hour just for 3 images, and it drives you crazy. So what you could do is you could just force an image for that specific number regardless if it fits the code or not. So as you can see, the 40s all start with R, right? And how I get the rest of it is not important. But let's say I want to just use, I don't know, a bed for 44. Clearly it doesn't fit the code. But for a two-digit number system with 3 blanks, it would be okay for me to force an image for these different numbers. And that's because there's only a small amount of them. So I might have probably spent, I don't know, 30 minutes on these 3 blanks. And so in my mind, I already have that association that, man, these numbers absolutely suck because I can't find an image. So once I force an image for these blanks, then there's a new connection like, oh, at last I have an image I like. Forget it. It doesn't matter. It doesn't fit the code. That makes the association stronger because when I see 80, I'm like, oh, 80 wasn't one that gave me trouble. That's right. It was a table because it's one of the images that doesn't fit the code. And so when it's a small amount, you're able to force images in your memory systems. But when you have something like a 3-digit number system where you're creating 1,000 images, and as you can see, there's a lot of blanks everywhere. And believe it or not, a lot of these blanks have given me trouble when I was trying to create a 3-digit number system. And absolutely made me frustrated and upset. But I wouldn't be able to force images here at all. Why? Because there are so many that gave me trouble, I don't know, like 100 or so. And so if I force images for all these different numbers, regardless of the code or system I have in place to create the images, there's no way for me to differentiate, oh crap, okay, 366 gave me trouble, but also 631 gave me trouble. And how about 317? So how do I know which image belong to this number because they all gave me trouble? So when you have so many gaps in your system, you can't really force any images because there's too many gaps. There's too many numbers or whatever it may be that gave you trouble. And so there's no way to have that association for those small specific numbers when you have 50, 100 numbers that gave you problems. And so you wouldn't want to force your images in this case because there's just too many blanks. There's too many frustration associations you created. And so this is what you have to do when you're creating your memory system. You have to see how many blanks you have, which ones really made you upset, because you might be able to get away with forcing an image. But if you're having a lot of blanks, a lot of trouble creating images for many of the different pieces of information you're trying to create an image for, then forcing an image will not help you at all. But something like this, and even for my card system, I have, I believe, 2 cards that I force an image that doesn't follow the code I used to create the images originally. And that's okay. It's worked for me. And so you just kind of have to take a look at it and say, okay, can I force something here or not? And you can actually try it, and you keep messing up on that specific number or whatever it may be, then you know you need to change that image for that specific piece of information. So I know this video was a little bit longer, but I just really wanted to go into this because it is important when you're creating your systems that you do not get stuck and waste time on 3 images you're trying to figure out, when it's just better to force something and just move on and practice. And when you're practicing, those 3 odd ones will be super easy to remember. But there's also the limit where you have a 3-digit number system like this and you have all of these blanks, and you just have to suffer through until you get the amount of blanks you have to a few in order for you to force images. So hopefully you found this video useful, and I'll see you next time.